Kinaseus, Phos Anthropos, Ipathione Eliene Arteone, Road Never Traveled. Afterlife by Living Bells and Beating Hearts, conceptualized, written, recompiled by Vemir Mondo. At the time 3 in the morning was born the son of a royal woman, the dear mother Anitia. In the pain that came from the birth, the mother's mind searched for a name for her child. When the baby was placed into her arms, she chose the name Vemir due to his nature. Whether he was birth, earthly royalty to mankind, it is clear that his full name is Vemir of all earth the revered. The child was named after the royal Vemir in the castle. Vemir has 2 or more retired swords that have kept in the past as well as stars. It symbolizes peace, and once you retire prayers to the Vemir to enact radical change. When it brings blessing changes to the pedestal after the Vemir, the seven military army, the most beloved man throughout all earth and throughout all the cosmos. After the child is born, a visitor comes. The mother is visited by the uncle of her child, the brother. His importance to the crown and his political influence are unable to be overstated. The uncle is called the Writer Have, and he has received the title Great Man from the God of Man. He points the child toward castle walls and utters, "I think your adolescence will leave you shriveled. You are destined to be destroyed." The child chuckles back at the joke and innocence, and the uncle casts doubt upon his own laughter. In time, the child yearns for the wonders of the castle in his infancy. He becomes proficient in his own language, and he is able to read and write. He takes interest in art, and becomes proficient in music and traveling. He is routinely beaten by Have, who states he will not delve into those depths. So he plays guitar with the chamber close to the castle, and he climbs under the castle heights late at night to overlook the plains. In silence, his feet dangle off the high towers. He smiles as he plays the guitar. While speaking other languages, he is caught by Have in the dead of night. Have says to him, "Your treachery infects deep into your core." Dragged by Have's arm, the child is taken deep into the tower's basement. On the steps, Have speaks to the child again. "You are the truest form of the bastard." The child is pained by the great man's grips and his body stutters. Have is annoyed by the child's convulsions, and the child's body is pushed down the tower stairs. The child tumbles in agony, and the subsequent Have arrives at the base to follow. The child is bruised and marks, and Have stands over him. He proclaims to him, "Bastard, you will submit to all world's torment, or you will experience eternities." In the dungeon cell, the boy weaves a passage for Have from fine silk. From the torture and from the tomb I will live through eons. Bastard I am in inconsolable pride. Brother, I will stand tall until the bricks erode and the ground splits open to see the day of the bastard. This is a high take on Jungian apotheosis. Part 1. I'd like to start this by having a few words on myself, a word on any essences that fill me and control me. The spirits that haunt me and yell words in my ear. No, the ones who fly as fairies and twinkle before me spelling the name of God in letters I've never heard before. To the artistic leprechauns in the corners of my eye that draw incomprehensible colors just out of the frame of my vision. Those who are watched, and to those whose eyes are replaced by blind telescopes with the edges, everything of all times lies within you. Work and fight, and continue to work and fight, because there are no two things more accustomed to a living space in the space of my non-existent identity. Set yourself in presentation of the deepest, and never ever yield to the geos. Hold this with you, as it will serve your existence well. My whole world is dark right now. In fact, there's not a single source of light in this cold, rocky room. I can kind of feel a stream of water lightly tapping all over my body. It makes me feel a little bit like rain, and I begin to feel my arms driven in large streams. Streams of water detach and splash all over my dirty feet, prompting me into pain as I feel my arms do it from my body. Turning my ankles is soaked in red water. I make a loud noise, almost a scream, and realize my face is buried in my hands. I lay on the ground in a fetal position. I promptly stop my screaming, and I sit up carefully, this time examining my body, coming to the conclusion that I am still in one piece. I stand up quickly, almost slipping on a smooth rock. I start to look around the cave, trying to find a way out, feeling that any form of exploration getting deeper and getting lost in defying it would be acceptable. I stare around intently for the exit and begin to see mystical flashing lights light up the cave. It is quite unparalleled. I begin to see the walls of the death room more clearly. My eyes spin and flicker around quickly. It shows the flat cave wall and the short path to the surface outside. I feel my heart race as I grab one hand onto the flat wall, immediately being shot at past to climb to the flat tunnel surface. I run outside the roofed obstacle as fast as possible, and am blinded by rural nighttime lights. They're so dim that I become blinder with each passing second. After a couple of minutes in the blindingly dark forest of widespread vegetation and prosperity, I can hardly see the firs, and I can hardly see the pines. I can hardly see the bears and the wolves and the cougars and the eagles and the lynxes, the cougars and the jaguars running and screaming, making engine noises momentarily as they flash past in the blink of an eye. Besides the animals, I cannot see the scratch marks in the stones that line various places, nor the mouths or the lichens that rest on them. I cannot see their mouths letting out their tiny snores, although I can hear them as the stars expand just a little every time before contracting once more in a seemingly infinite loop. I realize this place is impossible to navigate, and that any man here before me most certainly died in a slow manner of starvation, Or perhaps some undiscovered virus passed between humans and animals. Realizing the uncertainty, I shake in fear, and blinding the dark flashes, and I grab my own shoulder. It will be okay, I whisper to myself as a hand rubs my shoulder warmly. I feel myself coming down on my side, a bit of stress, hindered with the control of various numbers of stones and rocks. As I move my hand off my shoulder to position myself back to normal, a nice cold replacement fills the antiphysical void with stallion ache. My shoulder quivers in fear. I let out a loud scream, almost some kind of noise, in anticipation of the deep dark blankets of light. I turn around quickly to see what lies in search of me. Perhaps it's one of those bastards that wants to come get me after I escape. Perhaps it's another spirit to come throw me through the never-ending lights. I can't really say so for sure what this bastard is until the lights turn on. It may never happen. As if a finger were snapped, the sky kindled into 1,000 suns and spinning pig on a spit. And over them the heavens shone brightly as the bright streaks of yellow, then red, then orange, then white. Finally, greenish blue flash. So that's what remains and stains the sky. Bright blue clouds slowly move underneath as if nothing had happened. I feel as though the whole world had exploded while I stand the same as ever before. Standing about half a foot taller than I, his deep green eyes contracted greatly from his scorched face. His robes of grass and flowers draped slightly off his arms and legs, coloring settled in even a neat pattern. His hair contained a neat blanket of leaves held together by leaf fibers, delicately staying afloat as he gives out a close smile. His sun's composition matches that of his scorched face, and he looks in the eyes in bliss as he waves gently a bit above me. I keep my eyes on the figure in a complex whirlwind of feeling, and his delicate flower crown continues to stay on his head despite the winds becoming increasingly heavier. He opens his mouth, and as though an angelic choir has emerged, he speaks in perfect harmony with himself. The wind stops blowing, and the trees stop growing as if to hear what he would say. Are you comfortable? His voice sounds almost ethereal. I hesitate, then respond in a nervous manner. Yeah, I think so. He pauses for a few seconds, smiling and closes his eyes to wave once more. He laughs quietly, half containing it in his mouth, almost as if I would not hear it if he tries to conceal it. He calms down his half-suppressed laughing fit, and then he attempts to speak. It's been a long time since I've had anybody around here. I know you're scared, but it's okay. He smiles again, this time with significantly less laughter. I give you a hug, but I don't want to hurt you. He trails off, looking up at the green sky in its contrast with the daytime stars and the buildings. I stare at the scorched man, more confused with each passing second. I hold my eyes in blank expression simultaneously, watching in complete silence of what the man might do next. To my surprise, the man stops staring off at the stars and begins to stare back at me. Locking eyes, I find myself completely unable to break into the eye contact we share. It scares me. His innocent gaze peers deep into my soul, and I see the totality of my being, while I can only see the vine redwoods swirl beneath the deep irises. I wish I could do something. I wish I could do anything. I keep my eyes through his scorched skin, and I don't feel like I can ever break the stare. His eyes stay perfectly on me as he continues to spin. I feel a little uneasy, gripping tightly at the rocks that lay at my feet. Salivating, breathing heavy and labored, I feel my hands tighten with unison the rest of my muscles. The commander gives in, and I am alone with Earth, our God. Open 1. The darkness grows around me, and I continue to shrink. I am completely anxious and unable to find peace or calm in this strange and unending world. I call it into the storm clouds as loud as I can for any man that would reach his will across the world to save me. I wait through eons and eternity, and I am disappointed that my calls fall flat. As I reach around, unable to fall and unable to rise, grasping at the door handle and a non-existent straw of the cosmic labor pool of nothingness. Diving can't find much more of anything, and my chlorine-filled lungs are out of air. I call it again, but this time it is a scream. I'm muffled by styrofoam and cleaning chemicals. To the face of the immortal and the timeless, I revel in many things. The last of which showed me the pulsating waves reverberating through my body, that stretch my being into fatality, comfort me. Open 1. In a jolt, I see the bright colors, hyperventilating, and I lie completely unable to process what has occurred to my body. I see green, and it still leaks deeply in heavy amounts onto my chest. It makes frantic attempts at screaming barely out of my frequency. Another jolt snaps me into a coughing fit, hacking up spit and fragments of bone all over myself. I see the man standing over me, his green eyes locked onto mine, his arms pressed into a fist on my chest, sobbing and sweating as he finishes last compression. The lines continue to streak. Wake of a shock, I feel my head grow heavier, sinking deep into the earth. I fight the urge to fall back, and I sit up straight to meet the man's eyes. My dizziness slowly fades, but the man lunges forward in a climax of relief, catching himself shortly before he can put his arms around me. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. He uses a leaf and wipes his tears streak off one of his eyes. I'll be right back, okay? He stutters nervously. I just want to comfort you, and I don't know what I'd do if I ever hurt you. He runs off, and I'm still just as uncertain. I look up to the sky, seeing that its color has not changed an inch. and that there are white droplets littering every inch of it. The sun continues its blinding streak. It remains amazing to me that the sun can lie in balance with all the heavens, and that it manages to maintain harmony with our world. It holds steady with our moons and our stars, as well as our world, supplying energy for every vital existence, every cycle in existence. In an honorable way, the sun is the truest form of the supernatural. As I introspect, I am interrupted by the sound of a branch breaking. The man comes back to a divide in the bush, stumbling and holding a shattered layer of leaves, which I notice is covered in tree sap. He kneels down, spreading it apart from his hands and preparing to drape it. As I preemptively recoil from its sour appearance, I brace myself for what is to come. It is for this that I am taken by pleasant surprise upon feeling its paternal coziness, causing me to wrap myself in its warmth. It is a quasi-primordial reassurance. I feel my whole body get warmer as his arms wrap around me in a manner complementing the campire's surrounding aura. My mind is unable to think, I am unable to speak, and my whole world is unable to progress. I am at peace. The man, amidst the universe's integration and alignment, speaks in a manner that seems to blow wind. I'm sorry, he spoke softly. I left a few marks when I was trying to bring you back. His voice almost breaks. I had leaves covering me, but my skin singed you in just a few places. I don't know what to say or how I can justify what I've done. He quivers at the last words, tightening his gentle embrace, whispering in louder words. I don't know what I would do without you. I'm shaking and quivering as he is, though I try to hide it from his gaze unsuccessfully. As my tears begin to slip, I feel my arm pat my back gently. Right here's reassurance. You can let it out. He stops the petting and holds his arms to support my back. It's okay, I'm here. As the deep blue rises, I realize I can't hold back my floodgates. I realize that there will be no avail to the jarring sounds of my being. It's hard to say what happens next. His charred finger reaches forward close to my face and wipes a few of my prevailing waterworks. I operate without time, and I feel the warmth radiating from his flesh. It's warmer than I could have ever comprehended. Through tears, I choke on my emotions and stumble over the most intimate parts of myself. I cannot find myself, I cannot lift myself upward in support. As I feel the arms catch me and hold my life dearly through every bump, I come to realize that my inabilities are in vain. My independence strokes dearly in the same manner, and the warm arms breaks me once again. My vision breaks, and I can hear an apology. I'm sorry, he continues to cry. My hand slipped through your blanket. He shows a downward fold in his face in their entirety. I don't want to hurt you. He wraps underneath with his hand, wicking away his dry tears and materializes. I'm confused by his apology. The rings of fire, I can see the roses stimulating themselves to completion in a supernatural breeze of pollen and deep both of their sides. Through the cranium of the god and all men that I could hope to be, I see that his face remains the most noticeable. I took the blanket off of me, and every piece of me is exposed to the elements. Man can take his eyes off my vulnerabilities. They're plainly up and down by the pink folds in my corporeal inhabitants. I fearfully try to look away, hiding the lock around my eyes deep in where the trees touch and the sky and merge. I'm sorry, I break my speech quietly as the great expanse becomes one and a whole. When I look back, I see that he can't move his teary eyes off the pink folds. Their details shine brightly in vulnerable catharsis. The two unify with the stars on the horizon and the earth in my naked flesh. No. He calms down his sobs in an exaggerated metric. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you're hurt. He trembles. He strides towards me gracefully. Says the next word clearly. Your art. He lifts a hand, gently pushing it down against my chest. I feel a gentle tingling sensation. I look into his eyes and see another world. I can hardly hear his words as he wraps himself around me like a serpent. And my feeling of drifting is multiplied hundredfold. As my light head is covered in bright lights, he speaks the word softly. I love you. He traces my face and pushes his lips against mine. Open to it. My world of wonder is awoken once more. I see cracks between the lines of non-existent concrete. I see torches burn their wax brightly into explosions that line the sky. I scream into the abyss, but the only colors that come out diffuse with the explosions beautifully. I scream so much that I begin to choke, gasping for air at any metric. The expanse of dust answers my call and fills my lungs with unescapable touch and gentleness. I feel myself relax, and I continue floating aimlessly. I should be worried, I think to myself, sinking deeper into the ocean waves. I should have a sense of danger. My weight disappears from me entirely. A sense of hatred, a sense of survival. I don't want to think anymore. I don't want to put these marks into a relentless stone. I don't want to put into the earth what I could just as easily carve into a body. As I'm at peace, the lights fade. I'm not sure if my body has succeeded them, but I do know that I do not have the desire to flail and find out. Instead, whatever remains of me floats on the waves for eternity. When I look back up towards the sky, I see the lights of varying colors twinkle and shoot across the skin, stopping in positions unknown to me. They are uniform, and I can feel them push themselves together. They are one line of many, a creation too large to conceive. As I continue to float, I cannot help but admire the stars as they speak in light tones. Watching the fire sweeps the sky, the stars cannot help but become louder. Listen as you would speak, child. The stars proclaim in a heavenly manner. Tony nevermore, I respond as I wish. I would not like to understand. The waves have carried me far, and I sincerely hope this will last forever. You know nothing, the stars articulate coarsely. I don't want to, I say plainly again, superficially annoyed. I have been clear. Instead of further talking or interest, I am surprised by a jolt jerking me down to the bottom of the depths. As a goldfish in a glass bowl, I beg for air, and crying down on waters, my pleas answered with suffocation. Colors of God and night follow me into my dream, and another world consumes me. Open 3. I see the vivid works deep in the hollow shadows, and I wish I could see them littered across the patterned sky. They accompany me, and I feel safe in their presence. I feel as though I am forced to stay silent, and the guardians follow the unspoken instead of bearing challenge. Before I can process my surroundings, I hear the crack of a door opening, and I move into the shadows for solace. In the door's wake lies a bruised boy, no older than 12 or 13, his green hair flowing off his head, and his fair skin littered by it with burns. At the sight is a black woman stabbing and yanking him by his elbows, dragging him forward towards the desk. There's unmistakable fear in his eyes. She raises her hand sharply with an open palm, making him flinch momentarily as flogged across the face. The boy tries to hold back his tears, as fruitless as the attempts may be. The woman walks up to the desk, clearly furious. Nobody stands in the presence of either. Oh, and there's nobody here? I know you had something to do with this. There's a sound of a second smack resonates across the anomaly that lies in front of us four, and her voice raises in unison. You in the depths when there resides in the shadows when the deal is to be done. I feel the stars stare at me. I feel compulsion towards the counter. My body's feet are pushed forward, and I am one with my motions. My destiny has called me to the face of God. Her face's features share the same characterized absence of a lighthouse. She does not reach the heights of the boy she reeled in amidst screaming. Her cry is amplified and reverberating smack me, and I can barely stand. There you are, damn it! The steaming gladiator boils slowly before losing her patience once more. So are we going to talk? She bites forward on her moonflower-wrapped lips. I need to run. I need to hide. I need to find another place to go. Alas, the stars have burnt out, and my beaming legs have frozen themselves solidly to the floor. I stare into the woman's eyes, and no features mark her face. She lacks eyes, and her lips are simply flat and closed. Her face does not shake as she speaks, and her hair fades in and out as rainbows exist indistinctly. I wish to see her express. I wish to see her face. I wish to understand in complete detail and clarity everything that has ever touched her and touched her. One spirit drops distinctly, and I feel the uncontrollable reactions fester inside me. I scream into a brick void. I shed light from my eyelids, and I am poured out into the deserts. On the verge of tears, I feel the other spirits, as well as many others, and feel all their puddles and clouds simultaneously. Shaking, I return my eyes to the woman with my head low. In compulsion, my eyes meet hers. We are unified in the act of betrayal. We grab pieces of totality, chop them on our bleeding stumps, and scorch them to ash in the mason's crucibles. Her voice slams her vise into the tree in one motion. He is not cooperating. I nod. I make eye contact with the woman. I know what she implies. I inquire upon her silently. Is he beyond redemption? I fortunately know the answer. One more nod from a perfectly still woman confirms the suspicion. I cannot reserve the urge to sob the light off my body. I feel fate consume me, and I swallow the serpent whole. I apologize audibly, with my non-existent lips shut. I shed my skin. I wish I could articulate the words. I wish I could tell him the thoughts of hospice have always killed me too. I look towards the boy, seeing him as he erratically shakes. His eyes are catatonically still, and his mouth remains gaped. His eyes are locked with mine, regardless of where I look, and I see an ambivalent dichotomy of fear and anger, like campfires behind his spotlights. I feel the inescapability, and I feel the compulsion beam to me at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Energy exudes from me at 10 times that speed. The boy, tired of the hospital bed, lights his face up to break free, parting seas of waves, though he were freeing his own people. Walking on sand, he grabs a book, slamming it down into me as hard as he can muster. I scream, but no noise comes out. I feel the pain without body, as every hit brings me closer and closer to a non-existent final destination, another world I cannot comprehend. When he's finished, I see him sweating, and I see the anger in his eyes mostly disappear to be replaced with shock. As the colors leave me, the boy is grabbed by the woman who holds in place, brandishing fire from her hands. Last I see is the boy sobbing, crying, with fear outlining his eyes tenfold, as he silently begs against all hills and forester. As the scorchers beam out of her being in the final act of God, I lose my consciousness completely. Open 2. I am floating once more. I wake gently on top of the infinite ocean. The stars have all disappeared from the pitch-black sky. They are silent and I am frozen in fear. The water has become thinner and shudderingly cold. I feel my bones freeze over, and I feel my body become pure celestial ice. All 7 of my senses ring in melancholy, disturbed and discarded. I sit up, observing the now colorless, desolate wasteland that it has become. I wonder, and I run around the thought pattern so much that nothing changes. I wonder, and I fly so far into the sky that I am left in darkness. I can't fight anymore, I think to myself. The muscles of my wrists break, going limp quickly. I can't move, I think to myself. My legs fizzle into dust. I can't equilibrate anymore. Anything below my neck is turned into a blood stain. Interaction is gone, I think to myself. There is no place for consciousness. Permanent darkness ensues, and I live for several eternities. I wake within 15 seconds. Open to. When I feel the soil of the earth and the slime of the blanket given to me, I recoil in rivulets. I am panting, and I look to see my entire body is covered in littered and black scorch marks. I see the trees and I see the bushes. I see the grass outline in the world which I attempt to succeed. As I am gathering myself, and I feel myself shiver, I am dizzy and groggy, and I feel the leaves slime squish unpleasantly against my body, in which it is wrapped. I feel as though phlegm lies my body alongside expired yogurt, and I must retaliate against it. Get this damn thing off me, I scream, failing to tear the slime off of me against the raging winds. The struggle makes me sit up tall, and I am built firmly into the ground. My struggles and my adrenaline have reached a new height. I no longer show the fear burning inside me. A leaf stand shows himself distinct from the greenery. I freeze upon seeing him. He giggles softly, unable to stop for a few seconds before he must stop himself. He returns from the neutral mood, smiling. Are you up? Sunlight radiates from him. Do you want to come here? His eyes beam, and he trusts me enough to close them in front of me. It's sad to say that God and I are the only 2 people who ever know what the mistake that was. I boil into steam, and I run towards the man like full speed like a wild animal. His eyes remain sealed within time. My organized arms, which have never fought before, dig deep into his flesh and leave scorches, staining my knuckles. I drown out his screams and the sound of his agony. I mouth his breath, sweating myself completely dry. Staring back at the green-eyed man, I see he is sweating. I see there is fear in his black eyes. He trembles in shock, with blood covering his whole body and tears streaming from his face. He quivers and the pleas beg silently from his being. I hear them perfectly. He opens his mouth, holding the words. He holds the words together with fading glue. Why? One hook motion, my Roshi is uncontained, and he is knocked unconscious in a wham. Another slam towards the ground makes him a sanguine fountain of youth. His body drips peacefully. I turn and slip the unspoken words. Hospice kills me too. I stray away in defeat. In the desolations of the soul of my being, my skin therein touches the earth. In the burns of my lung, flames are brought to the trees of the world. In enduring blazes, now or never are wounds brought to my own soul. In that of the dust, those of my new birth, my own self. Branches fall from the heights they have, the land burns, and the creatures perish amidst the pines. Of my essence I declare that I perish today as a follower. Eyes of mine still see, hands of mine still feel, my lips still speak with beating heart. My blinding scald scorches the branch of the trees, are mighty and unceasing. There and thusly lives my own self, one that is mightiest of all the branches. And here walks my soul accordingly, as it lives without end for all eternity. I am king of all splinters, the apotheos. Sun burns. I make my way in strides to the battle still of the Vemir, guided without voice, heard without shepherd, led toward peace of people of all earth. Willing that I not fathom the abyss's strides. Hands rest upon the hilt, hardened flesh rests upon the steel of its fabrication. Blessed is their firmament changes as in my dreams, and that is in my most challenging times. Bread be its starvation, and water be its thirst. And it touches my body, the eternity of the firmament of the god. The retired sword is drawn from the Vemir. The ring falls over the kingdom, descending out of the cosmos of the golden chariot. Metal giving metal, flesh giving flesh, drawn blood from the toughest stone, to be retired once more in the Vemir. May I become beloved. The unending library, the spirit of all depths and all times, and our credence to my words. Peace be between all people of all nations, of those of good will and good fortune, so may the bastards perish by the same end of sword which he lived. 3. I find myself a light on the horizons, almost seeming to fly past. In the wake of the forest there are but sinful twigs and galaxies zooming past. They seem to explode in twinkles, drowning me underneath their covers. From each explosion surfaces the cosmic paint that seems to elude me, the type God uses to strum the harps which are heard from beyond the borealis. And there lay a single tumbleweed in front of me. I wouldn't forget a thing like that, just like I wouldn't forget the sunshine. Beholding this rolling carcass, I was all but curious. I had never actually seen a tumbleweed before. I've heard stories of these themes, or I'm sure I have. I used to hear stories about trees at the very least, if not tumbleweeds. They were tall and they had fruit, they'd say. They were never alone and some people like to climb them. That's where it's convenient as an explanation. I figure out to try my hand at socialization. Reach out my hand at the tumbleweed, shaking and fidgeting instead of the harsh cosmic winds. Feeling good to bird my hand instead, I bandage my hand, continuing alongside the tumbleweed. Brambles, pokes, thorns, blankets, pines, blades, graves, swords, bristles, twigs. The days become the months, and they smile as the years take ever faster. What I wouldn't give to watch the sticks pile up, to watch the grasses do dry once more. I only ever really loved once. And I followed the tumbleweed, seeing the seasons change and enjoying the silence. It's quite an experience being there, one with nature. I am just a beholder in this state, knowing beauty is a continuation. It's peaceful. Wish I could say more about it. I collapsed, and the tumbleweed tumbled off the horizon, rolling and peacefully drifting along. Having succeeded the worst mathematics and those things themselves having failed miserably, I thought it good to advance into the nearby village. It would have been good to advance as though nothing had happened, but such a thing might possibly be good otherwise. Regardless, I find myself in the abandonment of the tumbleweed, in the cradle of festival lights in the midst of village chants. I walk in as much as they perform the festivals to my sight before my arrival. I read the epitaph. It was carved, Homer Dolio, Have's champion of world peace. Stone aside without an understanding, directly coming from a kingly authority of the nobleman. Try to stand straight, hiding my trembles and hunger shakes, knowing my parched lips as I speak. I grumble to myself, unaware of the noises. I have never even heard of Dolio, and they claim that Have sent him. I bite my mouth, still unaware of the gatherers. In another breath, I further process what is written on the lower half of his epitaph. Here lies Dolio of gods, legendary philosopher and teacher, alive in our hearts. Dolio was first sent to our village by Rether Have, king of earth. Whereupon Dolio is recorded to have ended our droughts via divine intervention. Long live Dolio, most righteous, underneath our blazing sun. I am in disbelief and quickly ask if any of them had ever seen Dolio. My acquisition to around 100 people, the answer was succinct. Well, no, I have never seen him. However, the village elder, an old woman, makes the outstanding claim that shocks me. I saw the Dolio once in the village when I was very young, the elder interludes. There were many canal and gardens as though a drought dried them up. Our crops decomposed in sickness and our water sources were made desolate. The elder is helped by a younger woman forward, lining most of the elder's balance with the walking stick as she continues. We starved for many nights and we turned to prepare for a miracle. Soon after, we thought we surely would die. The elder's face fades momentarily, recounting before looking back upwards. But then a mirage appeared on the horizon with a walking stick standing upright. And he was not thirsty. In fact, the heat waves parted convections behind him and his skin stayed cool. The elder wipes her face, continuing in speech as she finds a place to sit. He did not grow hungry likewise. He asked to speak to our leader. He was interrupted by pain groans, and he soon knew we experienced famine and drought. Trent had to describe Dolio's dialogue from a perspective. "We are hungry and thirsty," said the Dolio, "but I am here to amend." With a pause, he met eyes with the elder in my childhood. My grandfather before continuing, "For I will feed you full and quell your worries." My grandfather remained solemn and did not show his doubt, looking to the clear sky and the dry canals. "You are to return the flow to our rivers and end the famine of our drought?" He kept neutrality, though there lay cracking sediment from the bottom of the canals and there were no clouds in the sky from which wind would fall. In response, the Dodio removed his single canteen from his bag, unsealing it for the first time. My grandfather was horrified as Dodio poured it upon the desert. My grandfather was horrified as he emptied it into the sands. In his shock and anger, my grandfather was astounded as the sun on the horizon expanded and blinded a burning white. We covered our eyes, and the Dodio uttered a salute in his words. He asked us to close our eyes momentarily, or otherwise our eyes may become mysterious and singed. We obliged, closing them for about 30 seconds. The Dodio gently told us it was safe for us to open them. There in front of us lay a tall tree, like a banyan sycamore redwood with a great oak. It was taller than the clouds which he made appear, alongside a wide oasis which surrounded the village. The tree had many fruits hanging from the branches, buried in the trunk and in the roots. The tree dwarfed us in likeness. Its branches reached high into the sky, far above the clouds, piercing them and logging. They emptied the reservoir of heavens, thus the water ran down the bark and ran off, made the canals run again. She quickly stopped talking, succinctly concluding. "So this Dodio saved your village?" I asked her, and she nodded back in return. He was a great man of all earth, though he did not wield a sword, saying that the coarse hand that handles the weapon tears the page of the scripture. She concludes succinctly, "So round to praise Dodio. Dodio was a grand Haman throughout and through, surely a great man of all earth. All glory to Dodio of gods." She stated as though it were appealingly factual. Men continued to celebrate in song and dance, speaking their strange language foreign to me, speaking my language only on intervals for the most sacred part of their worship. The songs continue. All glory to Dodio Tonteon, Gramhoma Dodio de Gloria Davilaki. They all sing the sacred language down in the castle, and I am full of mystery as to how they acquired the sacred tongue, taught only to nobility when I was a child. Maybe they just picked up parts of it for worship. I inquired of the village elder curiously. How did they learn the sacred tongue of the castlemen? Message reaches her ears, and she answers finally, Dorito Tonteon, that is, Dodio of gods, taught them how to speak that sacred language for the tongue of worship of God, and now it is used for sacred practices, including those ascertained for the Dodio himself. The men continue their chants, Dodio Tonteon, co gloria di toli mondi, that is, Dodio of gods, with glory belonging to him of all earth. I sit and take in the chants more and more, becoming quickly addicted to listening to the captivating noise. She continues to say something of her own, something to start a conversation. Salui et saludi, meaning welcome and health, from more contextually hello and good day. I respond etto tibia, meaning and you too. She continues the conversation saying, Como aprendió tibias lengua, meaning how did you learn this language? I respond, Sojo do castillo do retorjave, and of the Mondo, to which she covers her mouth in shock and she gets on her knees, begging forgiveness. Salui granam, no sabojo por recticon. She calls me a great man of all earth and begs forgiveness, saying, she does not know I was from the castle of Retorjave, king of earth. I tell her Eo Bom Levanta, meaning it's alright, stand up. She stands up very quickly in response, pressing my unknown name. Como te teles? She asks. I respond, my name is Vemir del Mondo, that is Vemir of earth. Io tebo, and you? She responds, most people just call me Ebola, grandmother. I've lived out my family. I continue, well, grandmother, tell me, how many others in the village have seen Doria Tantian? She responds, just me in her native tongue. She continues to speak her native language, clearly blindsided by meeting a royal citizen. She says, you need to tell everybody. I quickly object with not for me. She asks, why this? I respond, for goodness sake. She nods back. I see. You wish to live amongst people? I said to lie, leaving out my dishonor from the king of earth for an easier explanation. Yes, I wish to be one of you. I did not wish for my position of honor to be revealed to anyone. She responds in Rotan, saying, I understand, exalted one. Stay safe here as long as you need. She concludes succinctly, as is her nature. I nod back, gracias, abuela, meaning thank you, grandmother. She responds back, saying, Foini, meaning you're welcome. She continues in my native language, saying, Praste amigo tebu, meaning why did you come here? I respond, Praste Elahi devini, meaning because of God-given chance. I continue in my native tongue, Praste venes praca, meaning why did you come here? She responds, Plethori mi gente viven praca, meaning many of my ancestors live here. I respond, not in response. I look around the horizon, spotting a mountain far in the distance and feeling rejuvenation in response to looking at it. I ask her, Plethori pasoi manto esa montana, meaning have many people climbed that? She responds, no for eso, meaning no, that is not the case. I ask Prashtai, meaning why is that? She responds, Pathori di Joredo sacred, meaning many people consider it sacred. I respond Prashtai, meaning why? She responds back, Pathori pasoi di Jorodio vempre, samati hablahi, Prashtai plethori chai venis moira. Nasima. Many people say God comes down to the peak and whispers in the ears of those who travel to the top. I nod back as she continues in her native tongue. There's a sacred spot in a treacherous journey. I nod back once more, and I intend to climb it if what you say is true, Ebola. God knows I could use the help. She shockingly looked back and responded in sacred language. Pashtai? Nero tebu conoce escalas, meaning why? You don't know how to climb it. I respond back, Omenio venga se prashtai corata et alma, meaning I come for heart and soul. Ebola nods back before continuing herself. Corata et alma prashtai vengas, meaning heart, soul you go, more destiny, you are destined. I nod back, responding, Prashtai granhamam mantanos, meaning for the great man of the right. Ebola nods her head back and she concludes, Prashtai granhamam motev vengas, meaning for the great man you journey. 4. Open 4. I find myself in a different set of circumstances completely. I find myself in the harsh cold of a climb, no longer seeming to fly past the village chants with each step on the rugged mountain toward the summit. I move one foot after another with triumph and hardship, like stakes on a tent keeping me firm and upright. Open 5. My world of wonder is awoken once more. I see the summit pass by my feet 100 times, all going upward to the peak. I vomit colors from my mouth and feel the bones of my hands break. Praigranamam Venegojo, my mother is all my life depends on it. I continue with each breath, taking the words from my mouth, ejecting each explosion as each exposition is thus self-propelled. I light my jaw on fire, quickly extinguishing a million other plethoric notations. Open 6. I find myself amidst village chants again, though this time removed from the village, high along the climb of the mountaintop. The voice seems to come from nowhere. It is appeasing. I continue my way up, holding a rock formation in the distance. Open 7. Stopping the rock formation, I get a better look and realize this isn't a rock formation at all. This is the statue of the great man himself, the Dodio. It is very detailed. Open 8. My world of wonder climaxes over Dodio Tonteon, master of worlds. There's a plaque on the statue buried underneath the snow, which I clear as though to read it. Open 8. Dodio Tonteon, Gran Hamim Parej Retakave Remutero. Open 7. Dodio of gods, great man of peace at Retarhave, king of earth. Open 5. I quickly scoffed to myself. Why such mention of Dolio Tondeon? Surely they would not find him on a mountaintop. At that very moment there was a smoke signal in the distance, far from where I am, climbing up the layers of the clouds, percolating drops of water into the sewage tube. I decided to follow the signal. Open 4. And following the signal, I noticed the cabin at the far-off point, growing closer with each step. I see the mountain of firewood that some lumberjack has spotted at a distance. I approached cautiously. Hello, Salua? I asked to the cabin before not being interrupted. It was really peaceful and little noised. I continued to look around, taking note of a large stack of firewood and an even larger furnace connected to the side of the cabin. Open 5. Salua! An unfamiliar voice speaks to me from an undisclosed location. I yell back, Salua! The figure seems to come from an undisclosed location, solidifying itself in the mass from nearby materials. It comes to life right before my eyes. Open 6. Salua. The massive object turned human greets me. Salua, Sojo Dolio. I am taken aback, and I quickly respond, Edo Debo Dolio? He responds, yes, it is I, the Dolio. I quickly get on my knees. Salua et saluti. I tell him from my knees. He says, Eo bang levanta. And I stand up as commanded. Pachte vengas prakar, Dolio asks me. I respond, Pachte granama, meaning I came for the great man. Dolio looks back into us, praise Parka Sojo, meaning, well, here I am. He continues, Otebio eo granam, meaning, are you a great man? I respond, Pastor de in Sojo, et prida totalias, meaning, bastard I am with inconsolable pride. The Dolio looks back in a little bit of shock, but more acceptance than anything else. Otebio eo bastard de Have, meaning, you are the bastard of Have's work? Not back, pues, Otebio contes, meaning, well, I have a story to tell. He continues, Dijo a odio, meaning, tell it to God. I look back down at my hands, which are clearly affected by frost by turning black. I respond, thank you, Dolio. You changed our life for the better. Dolio responds, you are welcome. That help is all I ever wanted to give you, bastard. Open 6. In the blink of an eye, the Dolio was gone, and all that remained was my dying body. I noticed the cabin and the firewood were all gone, leaving a pile of snow in the wake. I quickly went into the snow, and covered myself in it from head to toe. I went wandering up the mountain summit, higher than the mirages. I found a spot overlooking the land in the highest spot possible. I cracked open, hands turning blacker with each passing second. I dropped water on the land by crying for the first time, with each tear seeming to take me higher into the sky. Climbing the mountains all the while, my hands cracked, blood seeping from the recesses and the black spots. Before I died, I noticed a beautiful view of the whole of the land in perfect harmony. I saw the whole land at peace. I saw all the earth from this high place, and beheld the whole land at peace. What a wonderful place to die. I heard another voice. Open 6. Let it happen. The Dolio's familiar voice spoke to me. I respond, it's so peaceful, how could I not let it happen? The world seems to stand still while I lie dying. I see something unexpected, and that is a meteor, like a rocket falling down the horizon. At that moment, the Dolio quickly responded to the meteor, flashing a light from where my tears were collecting on the ground. It's okay, Vemir, it's okay. He continues as he collects the tears, and the tears begin to shine brightly, making a light so loud that I cannot bear to look at it. I turn my head away. When I look back, there is a Vemir from the castle containing 2 monthly espadati, veteran swords. The Dolio quickly draws the sword from the castle of Vemir, chanting the sacred words, Pachte granamam. The meteor broke into 1,000 pieces, disarmed. I look over to the Dolio, broken. He looks back and says to me, draw the other sword from the Vemir. It is only fair, bastard. Change the world in any way you see fit. I follow his command, drawing the other sword from the castle of Vemir. I shout with the rest of my dying might, Pachte granamam meo bastard sojo, meaning for the great man and bastard I am. The world immediately begins to quake at a proportion never seen before in the history of the whole world. The lands tumbling, the mountaintops slaying peaks and destroying bridges. Then many lights in the sky raised their high stations, as though nighttime when the whole galaxy is visible. I saw a lotus and eye in the sky appear, showcasing every color, including many never seen before by mankind. The rest of the mountaintop where I found myself, Vemir do Mondo. You have summoned me for the cause of the bastard. The god of men spoke to me. I responded, yes, that is correct, O Lotus Eye One. My dying breath shall secure the bastard's place in history. The god of man responded, bastard you are, an inconsolable pride. You have experienced eternities, and have submitted to all world's torment. Tell me, O bastard, what change will be brought by you drawing the veteran sword from the stone? I respond, I wish to fulfill what Have said in prophecy. I wish for the bastard to live by the same end of the sword which he had lived. I live on the sword of destruction, that is how I said, that is how I intend to die. So show me your omnipotent form as I behold death, O Lotus Eye One. Lotus Eye God did respond, so it will be. The colors surround me and begin to fall down what feels like a deep pit before being pushed out of a sun membrane. The veil is disappearing as I take my last dying breath. A warrior's death. I did it. My last words. Open 9. In the last moments of fate in mind, I saw the firmament of the god. For all of the firm, lives, faces, days, years, feelings. Of the feelings, malices, happinesses, angers, love. Of the years, the similarities in the established. Of the days, the flames in the eyes. Of the faces, of Have, of the man of God in my face. With a live's blood waters self pains. Eyes to the eyes, not lacking my spine, I stood firm. Beneath the stars in all days I cried in beautiful catharsis. Between catharsis, the firmament mind is well itself to speak. I opened my lips and spoke to the soul of the Nove. Thus may listen, to move sought me of works of time. Then of the cosmos, great one of glories of land, the indivisible. Comes myself of my will and cries, only to see the flower of life. I burnt fire to the trees and forests, I became their kings. I murdered many people of all lands without repose, and death never found me but the victims of my conquest, even though I desired it from the infinity of the name yours. So tell me then of the infinities, for what am I forsaken? And the face of God presented to me the eyes, the open divinity. The music of the lands came from clouds of heaven to the world. My heart like a sponge, my hand the branches of pathways, and the lids of eyes mine broke, and I became a world as planetesimals. They were of their own enduring fire, lucid as understanding in the cosmos' dream. During the fall of tears and blood-forming filaments spoke to me the gods. In the music of the cosmos awoke all beings of all worlds. Hymn of days, hymn of the root of worlds, hymn of pathways prophetic and starlight, authority of the branch of all paths, and you the king is. Firm veteran soil of the first sin, serpent immemorial. With the blood within whales toward the covenant sweat, the chilled sweat is first fruit. Towards those coming intimations and parts, derive the waves of heavy water. There crashes to the land of mine, and comes the waves of earth, where the parts wombs water. As when the lantern's oil lights when sieged by the tsunami to scorch the Leviathans, such burns flames in the spirits of all people. All sacred wishes is not so it seems. Then in the fear of flesh to lose the living of all oneself, scorches the arbors of dining as the axe of the trees. The rounds of waters sanguine immolate themselves, for they are eviscerated. And the men who said that veteran swords of their own did not draw stones kindling, will laugh to taunt the fate with food kindling and abodes founded on stone. They will see Nove from the precipices towards the stone summit as seismic spark, and scream beholding bloody iron before arcs are eviscerated by the will of the volcano. Trees burned will give nitrates to land, whose murder will win the victory from spite. Of this has forged you the veteran sword of living soul and beating heart and colorful soul. Words of you are the writing on the walls, and you say you face the music. However, the face yours is the all, symphony of everything in harmony with all worlds. As golden symphonies receive inertia may they days their last measure, they are not split their fragments without a trunk center, nor rated notes without a scale. For who are those who deviate without a plunge whence they came? Ergo becomes you, with neither heartbeat nor tears to cry out of every face. Think it to Eden. Therein becomes you, the king of all paths, the trees of life in their branches, light of all souls giving strength, the shadow of all moons giving solace. The sky is the filament of neurons where fabricated ghosts light the stars. The land becomes you the river allied with all trailhead and the foundations of mountains. You will become the present which gives life glory, of iron of gold of soil, no tears or blood. And the bloody water of your story will grasp the stars where your life was painted. The murals made of stars do not doubt that you would shoot for us in glory. The book of life reads, neither that of Have nor Dodio doubted your apotheosis. Of Have, the firm and the established, and the constructed, and those from the land. Of the Dodio, those of the established, those of the firm, upright, kind understandings. Of you, that you have come to me as an upright spark, as have come Have and Dodio. For that of you is of the stars, of works of time, in which you have found at the end of all worlds. And thus is the end of your world, begins that of the world of the Nove, where stars turn to dust. For this I did not doubt that you and Have would solitarily see my face. No, Dodio held the heavens in mind, but uses it, using the sword which gives life to all. Simply be. Hearing this, everything of my essence died, spread far above the stars, blood and water littered. And I smiled. I give graces to the filament while melting to return to the stars.